Hi everybody! Today I have the pleasure to present our next hybrid animal. The new SEP Sesam version called Jaglion has just left his cage. With a collection of small live demo clips, I will introduce all the cool new features of this release. Have fun! These are the chapters of the new functionalities which I will cover in short live demos and which you can easily jump at directly by using the YouTube chapter structure down in this video. So now let me show you what we have new in our WebUI Restore Assistant regarding different task types and usability. And I have this Restore Assistant already open here in my browser, and you can easily see that there are new boxes with new task types like the Domino, SQL Server, Exchange, the group-wise, the Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager, and of course the Nutanix, and there are even more. On the left side you can see what new task types we have available in the Restore Assistant in the browser. And it's important to know that we always have the same look and feel, and my personal view is that it's definitely pretty easy to handle, no need to read any kind of manual, very intuitive. You can click on Microsoft SQL Server, for instance. We click on Next. Here you see our Microsoft SQL Server, our available servers. We click on Next. Then we have different backups available and different save sets over here. We can select one of these save sets, click on Next, and then we can drill down into the Microsoft SQL instance. You see some of the databases. We can select the master, for instance, click on Next, and then you have the options for a Microsoft SQL Server Restore with all the associated options for this kind of application or database. Yeah, if we go back and drill down once again with the Domino, for instance, just to show you the same look and feel for all the applications and task types, we select one of the Domino servers. We click on Next. We have this kind of backups and save sets available. We choose one from history, an incremental backup over here. Click on Next. And then we can drill down into the installation directory of the Domino installation, select maybe one of these mailboxes, or we can go back and select the nodes.ini file, which is a pretty important configuration file for Domino installations. Click on Next. Where would we like to restore to? These are all the usual options, I would say, for file restore. Yeah, if we start all over again, I would like to mention that we have changed the workflow a little bit because the advanced view can only be selected on the Start tab. In the past, this was different. It was your choice to change to the advanced view in whatever tab you would like to change it. Now it's only possible on the Start view, and you need this advanced view, for instance, for the VMware single file restore. Mounting virtual disks, browsing into the virtual disks and do a single file restore. The single file restore is now available for almost every hypervisor we support here in WebUI, and I will show you how this works for VMware. We select the advanced view over here. The single file restore is already pre-selected. We click on Next, and then here are the vCenters we can select and the virtual machines where we have backups available. I click on this Windows virtual machine, click on Next. Then we can select one of these backups. Here it's one on our software deduplicated storage, and I will select this save set, click on single file restore, and now we have the option to choose to which server we would like to mount to. And here the backup server is pre-selected, and I will mount to our backup server, the DemoFix3 over here. Keep all the defaults, click on Mount this file system. And now this file system is mounted to the backup server. And just remark from my side, because this is kind of interesting. It's a cross-platform mounting. You have a Windows virtual machine now mounted to our backup server, which is a Linux machine, and you can still drill down and select these kind of file systems from Windows. You will not have the ACLs, but you will have the file content and the files, of course. Yeah, you can drill down, select whatever you would like to restore to click on next, and you have all the standard options for file restore. And I think this is pretty cool functionality now, all available in our Restore Assistant. Well, but we have also new functionality if we click on our dashboard, which will show you an overview of the complete backup environment. Here's the overview of the backup server, statistics of the tasks, and so on. And what I will show you is the new functionality when you click on the data stores, and you have the view on the data stores that you already know. Here's the utilization of your data stores, and you can select one of the data stores or even all the data stores. And then we have this new button over here, the dependencies. And if I click on dependencies and also select the media pools, then you have the complete graph with the whole overview of your entire environment with all the drives, the drive groups, the media pools, your data stores. Here's the backup server, and you can hover on these icons, and then you see the operating system, you see the drive, including the channels and the mount point. If it's read-write, you can have here a snap data store with the capacity and the field. So all the important information on all these devices you can find in this hover section, and also you can of course filter all the graph. Let's filter to these catalyst store once part of your complete environment, and here you see that's your data store, these are the drives, and so on. And you can also have a look at the graph legend, and here you see an explanation, description of all the icons visible in this graph. Also, if you click on backups, you have the backup overview, go back to 1 week maybe, and now you have a lot of backups available here. Maybe you know already the 3 dots over here, and there is a pretty new functionality in these 3 dots, because you can now do an immediate start, and this is pretty important for functionality I will describe a little bit later. With the new backup role we have specified, so that you can now start backups from the WebUI. I think that's also pretty cool. So if we also have a look at the new APIs we have available, you know that we already had the REST API in version 1. A lot of our customers were already doing some kind of programming with the REST API. We have now enhanced this REST API really a lot. You can see now there are much more than 400 pages already, and there are a lot of new functionalities. I mean, in the past it was possible to extract information, to read information from the sesam environment, and now it is also possible to configure things. You can create users and grant permissions and so on. That's also possible from the REST API. And if we search forward, you can always see the explanation for every command. Over here, you see there's the persist endpoint, and it needs a new minimum required role. That's the super user. I will talk about this later. And this command is available since Jaglion, so it's all explained in detail, and this description helps a lot if you have to program in our REST API. So, to show you what we have available regarding our new functionality for Nutanix AHV, I have opened the web browser for the Resource Assistant already, and you can just click on this new task type box, Nutanix AHV. We click on next. Here you have the management host, our Prism host of our demo environment, and here are all the virtual machines where we have backups available for restore. We select one, we go to next. Here you see the available backup tasks and also the available save sets, and there's one lying on our dedup storage, could be an incremental as well. You can also mount the save sets for a single file restore. We have this change block tracking support and so on. So it's everything pretty complete regarding Nutanix AHV hypervisor backup of virtual machines. To show you a little bit of the configuration, I have here the configuration GUI, and I can click on tasks by clients, and if I just filter by Nutanix, you can see that we have here the Prism host, the management host. If you look at the properties, you see it's configured as being a virtualization server of type Nutanix AHV. It's a Linux host, and here we have Nutanix access credentials. Yeah, if you would like to create a new backup task, just click on new backup task, and as you can see with the client browser over here, you have some insight into this Nutanix environment. You can select a virtual machine, you can deselect some of the virtual disks if necessary. Click on OK, and you see that the dialog box is pre-filled. The task type is Nutanix AHV, and if you click on OK, this task would be created. From all these text boxes which are available now, you can see all our available options regarding configuration, backup, and restore. And I think there are a lot of options, and the whole setup is definitely pretty complete. It's also well described in our wiki, and if I enter the URL wiki.sepsoftware.com, you end up on our landing page for our wiki. Click on documentation as usual, and here we have all the descriptions of all our agents, also the new one for Nutanix. There's a new entry over here with a lot of descriptions for backup and restore as usual, with a lot of details, technical facts, and hard copies of the dialog boxes. We also have available already a YouTube video with a 10 minutes live demonstration of how everything works with Nutanix AHV and SEP Sesam, and there's the link on the bottom where you can just click on and find the YouTube video. One highlight of our new version Jaglion is definitely our completely reworked, revised SI3 software integrated deduplication. And I can show you in our configuration GUI, if you go to components under data stores, that we have, if you create a new data store now, a separate option. Here is our already existing deduplication store, and now we have the new one called NG, meaning new generation, and you have the choice for both, but we definitely recommend to use the new one. The behavior is definitely completely the same. You can create data stores, you can use target side dedup, replication, source side dedup, as you are used to it from our SI3 before. However, we have also created some new functionality. If I select this one, you can see that we have this tab over here, the S3 credentials tab. And if you are familiar with this from the past, we already had this tab for an S3 interface, but with the old SI3, it was kind of a transparent replication to S3, and if the local data are no longer there, then it would automatically in the background restore the data from S3. This now works differently because we can now write directly to S3 without any local storage. That's possible. Only the metadata will be kept locally, and the backup data will be directly transmitted over the S3 interface. And this could be public cloud. We have several certified cloud providers we support, and it could also be a local object storage which offers an S3 interface. So this is definitely a new functionality which could enhance and make your backup concept more versatile because you have new components to integrate into your backup concept. If you need to transition from the old DDAP storage to the new one, well, of course, both algorithms are, well, pretty similar because the old algorithm already was very, very effective and efficient. You were able to get really cool DDAP ratios, and the same is with the new SI3 NG. And if you would like to migrate from the old one to the new one, you have to best set up 2 data stores and just back up to the new one and let the old one expire if you have a transition phase of maybe 2 or 3 months. If you have old backups in the SI3 for compliance reasons for years, retention policy, then you need to migrate, or it's even possible to replicate the data from the old SI3 to the new SI3 NG, so that you have all your backup data now in the new SI3 NG data store. Well, what is the biggest benefit you can have from the new Deduplication store? And as you can see from the text box over here, we have definitely worked on the performance of the Deduplication store, and we have increased the performance maybe 20 to 30% for the backup, but we have even more increased the performance, the read performance. And the read performance you need for migrating data out of the DDAP store, for maybe migrating to tape for compliance reasons, and also for restore. For restore, you also have to read the data, rehydrate the data from the DDAP storage, and that's much, much faster. And this helps in setting up new concepts. If you maybe would like to have your DDAP storage as your primary backup target, that's not a problem at all now with the new DDAP storage. And you can even set up a replication to S3, and maybe even from S3 to another S3, providing kind of a multi-cloud structure. So a lot of new functionalities here with the integrated deduplication. Now, what do we have available new in this version regarding hypervisor support? And of course, if you have a look at the Restore Assistant, you will at once find, of course, the Nutanix AHV task type, but also there's a new task type regarding Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. This is a full separate task type now, even if it's pretty similar to the Red Hat virtualization. It's a separate task type now, requiring separate licenses and so on. And you can configure it separately with its own task type. Also, we have, from the configuration perspective, implemented a new functionality. If we click on tasks by clients, you will have most of our supported hypervisors in our demo lab under virtualization over here. And you might know that for VMware, we had a dialog box called Manage VM Tasks. And this dialog box is now available for every hypervisor. Yeah? You can just click on the management server, like here with Nutanix, and then we say Manage VM Tasks. And now we have this overview dialog box, and you have the complete virtual environment in one dialog box. And with the first category, you see that we have 37 virtual machines without backup tasks, so they are not protected. You can see it at once. We have 2 virtual machines with backup tasks. They are protected, and there might be some leftovers backup tasks where the virtual machine is no longer existing. In this dialog box, you can filter by name or regular expression on the operating system and so on. And then with just one click and apply, you could create backup tasks for hundreds of virtual machines for a predefined task group, to make sure that these hundreds of virtual machines are in the same task group. They will be started all together with the same schedule. So this helps really to make it fairly easy for the initial process to set up all the backup tasks for huge virtual environments. And moreover, it is possible to set up policies to detect new virtual machines, and by these policies, maybe regular expression on the name of the virtual machine or maybe on meta text of the VMs, you can create new backup tasks and to predefined task groups so that new detected virtual machines are automatically part of the backup concept and will not be forgotten. So this is definitely a new means to increase your backup security level, because no VM will be forgotten to be integrated into your backup concept. And this engine is not only for virtual machines, it's really powerful. We have enhanced it so that you can detect also new databases. If there is a new Microsoft SQL database, you can prepare policies to define if you should add it to your backups. Yeah, so this is really powerful. It's all described in the wiki just perfectly. If we go to our wiki landing page once again, and then we go, let's just search for automating, and then you will entering the right page, and on this page it's all described how to configure these policies so that new detected VMs or databases are added to your backups. All the hypervisor features you will find in the text box. As a summary, we also have the Hyper-V functionality regarding change block tracking support. The change block tracking from a Microsoft perspective is called RCT, Resilient Change Tracking, I think. And this is now used for incremental backups and is available since Windows 2019 as platform for your Hyper-V environment. Now I will show you how we have reorganized and restructured our authentication and authorization. I've already opened our graphical user interface. I'm logged in as being a super user. So on the left side you can see the predefined user groups we have, and we also have the brand new super user. There can be only one super user in the environment, and he's the only one and an almighty user who can grant access to other users, who can create other users and delete other users. So he's the only one. We also have the administrator and the operator. They both have the default on allow, so they can see all and everything. Operator can only watch, and the administrator can also configure. Then we have the backup and the restore user group. The default is on deny. They can see nothing, and the super user has to grant access to the backup and restore user. The backup user group is new to this version Jaglion. It includes the restore functionality, but it's enhanced by new backup functionality. I will show you how this works in our graphical user environment. Here's the permission management. Here's the administrator from the super user group. So we are logged in as this one. That's the reason why we can create new users. We create a new backup user, customer A, for example, give it a password. Here we could provide a certificate file. That's also brand new functionality in Jaglion. We can provide a certification for a certificate-based login as an alternative to the password-provided login. Okay, now here's customer A now, newly created. So we will now log in a separate GUI, in a second GUI with a new user we have just created, customer A. I give the password, and here I could provide the certificate file. We log in, and you can see that it has some reduced functionality over here. Only the functionality associated with the backup user are available over here. To show the restricted functionality, it's best to go into our restore assistant, we first start with the super user. Here you can see we are logged in as the super user. Therefore, we have all the backup tasks available for restore. But if we do the same from our new customer A user, the backup user, you see that there is nothing available in the restore assistant. But that's nothing special. That's the default. You have to grant specific access for this backup user. And on the left side, you will see the possible ACL settings. It starts always from the root of a location, that's from here, and it will be propagated and inherited the complete tree down to the servers and the backup task, and you could change the setting for specific servers or backup tasks. In this version, we have also completely new that you can set permissions for backup tasks, for backup task groups, for media pools, and for schedules. So if we change the permission, in my example, I will choose a Domino server. We have here the Domino 10 server. Click on Properties, Permissions, Add, and here we will add customer A as the new user. It's allow, that's fine. Okay, and now this server is allowed for access for this user. We update, we reload the browser, and now you see the task types are available, path backups and domino backups. Let's try a restore. That's the only server available where we have access to. Click on next. That's the backup task, and now there are no save sets available for this backup task for restore. Now, why is this the case? And it's pretty simple, because there are no permissions granted on the media pools. So you have to make sure that you grant access to the media pools. I know that on this media pool we have backups of these task types of this server. So we click on Properties, Permissions, we add customer A having access to this media pool, and then we can reload the browser once again, try to do a restore, go down, and now you see that we have a lot of save sets available for restore, all on this media pool. There could be more backups on other media pools, but we have access and permission only for this media pool. To show you the new functionality regarding our backup user, we switch to the WebUI, select the backups, and let's go back 1 week, change the period, and here you see that there are path backups and domino backups. If there's nothing to be seen in this view, you always have to make sure that the filter is set correct. Adapt the filter to make sure everything is visible. And now the new functionality is behind the 3 dots. Here you find the immediate start functionality. You could start and then change the backup level, change the media pool if there would be more available for this user. Click on next, next, start the backup, and refresh the view of your browser. And now you see that there is a backup started in active state started by this backup user. There are some more minor enhancements, I would say, in this new version, which I would like to show you and mention in the release notes. We are here on our wiki landing page. Click on release notes, and then you can see that there are a lot of new functionalities. We have here the installation with Postgres database on Windows. That's an alternative now to our usual SQLite database we use on Windows. On Linux, we already are using Postgres, and now we have the choice to also use Postgres on Windows. Especially for larger and complex environments, we really recommend to base your installation on the Postgres database. We have here a new functionality regarding the sparse file support on Linux, so that if kind of reduced files, kind of thin provisioning of files, being virtually larger and in fact are reduced to a specific size, so that after restoring these kind of files, they will be created as sparse files again, and so you do not have the risk that your file system is overloaded then. We also have this media management over here, and there is the new functionality that we can delete backups from tapes. This does not really mean that we physically delete the data on tape. We only delete the backups from the database so that the backup software does not have access to the data any longer, and no one is able to do a restore from our GUI or WebUI. Of course, if you have other third-party tools, you might have access to this data on tape. Still, that's possible. But from a GDPR perspective, that's definitely enough to show that you are compliant and that you fulfill the rule of the right to be forgotten and these kind of regulations. And that's fulfilled with this functionality. Also in the text box, you will see that we have some update of our support matrix for Domino customers and others. I think the most important one is the last one, that we provide now our packages on Linux also for a new hardware architecture, which is the ARM technology, ARM CPU technology. And you can find these packages, including backup server, RDS, GUI, everything is possible on the ARM technology and available from our download server. In the last chapter for our new version Jaglion, I would like to talk about another hot topic. It is performance, because we have done really a lot in all kind of areas to improve the performance. And just one little entry in our GUI, if we click on the drives, you have here the drives, and if we look at the tape drives, have a look at the parameters, the available parameters. There's a new parameter called device block size. And in the past, there was only the default device block size, and now it's to be defined by the user. And this helps a lot to improve performance when writing and reading backups from tape. This could be pretty significant, could be even up to 50% performance improvement, and this is definitely a lot. In the text box, you see all the areas where we have done significant performance improvements, especially when it comes to tape, write and read, not only by these block size, also we have implemented internally some things like asynchronous read-ahead buffer and things like that, which helps to improve the performance. We have also improved the purge of disk storage by reducing the complexity of SQL commands, how we behave with the database to improve the performance of each SQL command significantly. Also for the store once, regarding the open connections, we have done some optimizations. Migration is improved at least 20 to 40% so that every customer will have the impact of this performance improvement and will feel it really in his environment. We have improved the performance of the mounting for the virtual file system, for the single file restore. And also I have talked already about the performance improvement for our new integrated Deduplication SI3 new generation. So I think a lot of benefits for all customers to really update to our new version. If you need more information, you will find references around here for a playlist with a lot of similar videos and a general overview of SEP Sesam. Thanks for listening, and see you next time when you boost your SEP knowledge again.